Hey peoples of YouTube, today we're going to be remaking another fairy tale in Minecraft. So, without further ado, hope you enjoy Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Once upon a time, there were three bears who lived together in a house. A great big bear, a middle-ish bear, and a teeny-weeny bear. Now one day, these bears all sat together at their table to have some porridge. However, the porridge was incredibly hot, so they decided to take a stroll and wait for it to cool off. While the bears were out for their walk, a villager named Goldilocks happened to be strolling in the neighborhood, and they encountered the bear's house. And now Goldilocks was in a mood for trespassing today, so they just strolled into the bears' house, just like, how do you do? It's feeling great today. This was a very unfortunate thing, for the bears were very kind. Bears? People? IDK? They were very kind, and if Goldilocks had come up when they were home and been all like, hiya, how you doing? They probably would have invited her in and let her eat breakfast with them. However, she didn't. She just strolled right on in and saw the porridge on the table, and was all like, porridge. So she sat down in front of the great big bear's bowl and took a big bite. However, it was much too hot, so she just let it chill there, I guess. Okay, just moving on. Then she went on to the next bowl, which was medium-ish, because it was the medium-ish's bear's bowl. However, it was much too cold for her liking. So once again, she just like plopped down the spoon and just moved on to the next bowl, because that's what you do when you just wander to a stranger's house in the middle of the day, just randomly feeling great. And then she sat down at the third bowl of porridge and just scooped some into her mouth, and it was just right. So she ate the whole thing up until there was nothing left. No dear, oh dear, nothing left. And then she was very happy because eating porridge, feeling great. After eating all of the littlest bowl of porridge, Goldilocks was quite tired, so she decided, you know what, let's just sit down on the bear's chairs. This seems like a great plan. So she plopped herself on the biggest chair. However, it was quite hard. She did not like it, so she quickly got off, and as she did so, she dislodged the poor cushion because she just wasn't very careful. However, Goldilocks was quite dedicated to sitting down, so after they tried the big chair, they decided, well, time to move on to the middle chair. So they plopped down onto the middle chair. However, as they sat on it, unfortunately, they squashed the cushion because it was so soft. Now, after destroying two of the chairs, Goldilocks apparently still hadn't learned their lesson, and they were just like, well, you know what, today's a day for vandalism. So they just plopped down onto the third chair as well, because why not go for three in a row, you know? However, once they sat on it, they were quite comfortable, so they kind of just chilled there, having a great time until, kablam, the chair broke. Anyways, the chair's broken, and they're all just like, well, this is a great day. So after breaking the chair, Goldilocks just decides, well, you know what, I feel like having a nap. So they just stroll upstairs into the bear's bedroom and just flop down on the biggest bed, because that's what you do. You just go up to the biggest bed and just flop down. However, it was very hard, so they were all like, well, this is not gonna work. So they wandered over to the middle bed, belonging to the middle bear, and just hopped on it. However, it was incredibly soft, so they got off again. So, after leaving some Goldilocks-shaped imprints in both other beds, Goldilocks decided, well, you know what, let's try the smallest bed. And they popped into it and just went to sleep, because that's what you do. You just go into a stranger's house, eat all their porridge, break all their chairs, and then sleep in their beds. Okay then. Soon after Goldilocks had gone to sleep, the three bears returned once more. And they, having gone on a walk just as their porridge would cool, immediately went over to their porridge, because surely it must be cool by now. However, once the great big bear got up to their porridge, they realized that the spoon was inside of the porridge, and they were all like, oh my goodness gracious, somebody has been eating my porridge. Then, the middle bear came over and was all like, oh, somebody has been eating my porridge too! Gasp, shock. Then the smallest bear wandered over and saw that there was no porridge left in their bowl and was all like, wow, somebody just ate all my porridge. Nice. After making this shocking realization, the bears meandered over to their living room because after discovering someone's broken into your house and eaten all your porridge, that's just what you do. You sit down. And so the great big bear went over to their great big chair and saw that the cushion had been knocked off. And they were like, oh my goodness gracious, someone has been sitting in my chair. Then the middle bear went over to their chair and was all like, oh my goodness gracious, the cushion is flattened. Somebody has been sitting in my chair. Then the smallest bear went over to their chair and saw that, oh my goodness gracious, someone has been sitting in my chair and they just broke it. Nice. And so the bears, after realizing that someone had eaten their porridge and sat in all their chairs, they were all like, I wonder what else they did. So they went upstairs. And the great big bear immediately went over to their bed and said, oh my goodness gracious, there is an imprint in this bed. Somebody has been sleeping in my bed. Then the middle bear went over to their middle-sized bed and saw a Goldilocks-shaped imprint. And they were all like, oh my goodness gracious, somebody has been sleeping in my bed too. Then the smallest, littlest bear went over to their bed, and there she was, Goldilocks, still sleeping. And they were all like, oh my goodness gracious, somebody has been sleeping in my bed, and there they are. Upon hearing the smallest, littlest bear's voice, Goldilocks awoke, and seeing herself surrounded by 3 bears, she was just like, well, there is only one option, and just yeeted herself out the window. And because that's just what villagers do. That's just what villagers do when they discover that they're surrounded by 3 bears. Then she ran away into oblivion because, bears, and was never seen again. The end. Hope you enjoyed my Minecraft rendition of this fairy tale. I mean, ironically, this is actually probably one of the nicest fairy tales I've done so far. I mean, no one dies, other than, of course, a few porridge bowls and a chair and a cushion, but other than that, nothing dies, and that's actually really, really impressive, and no one gets married, and this is actually, like, the best Why is this the best fairy tale? This was, like, the weirdest fairy tale I had growing up. Like, you know, a person goes into someone's house, breaks stuff, eats stuff. It's, like, the weirdest thing ever. But, like, this is the original version. There's no changes, other than, I guess, you jumping out of a window, but that's still, like, so mild compared to other original fairy tales. Like, what is this? This is confusing me so... Well, hope you guys enjoyed. Have a great day.